So this is something pretty hilarious that I was reading today. Google says that the Reddit blackout has made their search results worse. Oh boy. It looks like the Reddit stink is finally rippling out to the rest of big tech. Who would have thought that a few subreddits going private would be able to hurt a trillion-dollar tech company? Well, it turns out that Reddit is one of the more popular keywords that people use for looking stuff up on Google. So in case you didn't know about this little search trick, which is really kind of a misunderstanding about how to use modern search engines, but I'll expand on that more later. The trick is, if you Google something and you feel like you aren't getting very helpful results, you just add the word Reddit to the end of your search query, and then Google's probably going to give you a link to a post in some obscure subreddit, which might even just be titled after the subject that you're Googling. And the title of OP's post might be your exact question, word for word. And then below are a bunch of answers from people on the internet with a bunch of upvotes next to their answers, signifying that other people agree with it. And there might even be flair next to the people's usernames, signifying that they're an expert in that subject, and so on. In fact, the way that a bunch of people end up finding Reddit is just by Googling the answers to a couple of things one day and seeing some pretty good answers to their questions on the site, and then thinking, gee, this website is so wholesome and helpful, I think I'll just go ahead and bookmark it right in my browser. And they're blissfully unaware of the mountains of degeneracy that reside in some of the stickier subreddits on the site. Now, I think there's multiple reasons why the word Reddit has become one of the most common things for people to throw at the end of a Google search. Sure, Reddit has lots of good information in it, but that's mostly when you contrast it against the garbage that you get from search queries without the word Reddit. Like, have you ever tried Googling a recipe? Try it out sometime. Even if you're not the cooking type, you would expect to get something like the ingredients that you need and the temperature and the cook time and maybe some specific instructions about how to mix things together. But 9 times out of 10, you end up getting something that reads like a PhD dissertation on the origins of lasagna and a 5-page essay about how someone used to cook lasagna with their nana each summer when they were growing up in Italy. And then finally, at the very end, you're going to get the ingredients and how long you have to cook it and how you have to mix things together. Now, because there are several subreddits that are still protesting even weeks after the initial blackout, this lack of easy-to-find information through Google is going to be ongoing. And the main solution that Google is going with is the implementation of this new feature called Perspectives, which is basically Google using generative AI to pull information from a bunch of different websites so that you can ask it more long-form questions. Like the example that they gave in their blog post was, what's better for a family with kids under 3 and a dog, Bryce Canyon or Arches? This feature is pretty new, and I think it's actually supposed to launch this Friday in the experimental Google search tab. And from the video demo I saw, I gotta admit, it looked pretty good. At least on the desktop version. The mobile version of it was kind of weird. It almost looked a bit like Pinterest. And of course, this is a tech demo video, which always ends up looking way better than the reality, okay, from every company. And keep in mind, it's an AI from Google. It's absolutely proprietary. And the data and metadata from each and every search result is probably going to be stored by Google and then used to train their AI further, and it will probably be used for targeted advertising as well, since that's still Google's main cash cow. So this Perspectives thing, that's Google's solution to the Reddit blackout problem. But it doesn't really solve the problem, because Google says that Perspectives is built on responses from sites like Reddit, TikTok, YouTube, and other places. The only one of those properties that Google really controls is YouTube, so the Reddit blackout is still going to affect this. And any other sites that might have protests or might have some problems in the future are going to affect this perspectives things. Like right now, if you try to look up any information on Google about the game Noida, the information is going to be lacking because 9 times out of 10, the information is going to be in the r/Noita community on Reddit, which is still private because that's one of the best resources for information about this game, at least in my opinion. And I haven't ever really used TikTok, but I seriously doubt that it's a wonderful haven of useful information. So yeah, Reddit Blackout is still heavily going to affect perspectives. And speaking of games, just 2 days ago, Slice Lime, who is a Minecraft Java tech lead, announced that the official source for new information and for giving feedbacks about new updates to the game Minecraft would no longer be on the r/Minecraft subreddit due to the recent changes to the Reddit platform. So for change logs and information about Minecraft updates, Reddit will probably not be the best source of information on Minecraft moving forward. And again, I expect this to keep rippling out with more game devs who are running official communities on Reddit making posts like this saying that we no longer want our main community to be on Reddit, either because they disagree with the API change or more likely because they're afraid of the corporate side of Reddit just taking over their community, since Reddit, the corporation, ultimately owns all the information on the site, and they can and have been purging the mods of some communities who they feel are not playing ball or who are not following everything that they want them to do. So what can you do now that the monolith of internet information known as Reddit is in a fast decline? Well, like I hinted earlier, ticking the word Reddit to the end of your Google search to query information from Reddit specifically is not technically the correct way to query information from Reddit or from any other site. In order to search a site specifically, you want to use this cite operator. Basically, type the word site with a colon at the end, followed by reddit.com or youtube.com as they show you here. And the same thing can be done for sites like Stack Exchange, online forums, and even Lemmy instances, which I think right now are in a prime position to bring in Reddit refugees, since the software is basically an open source and decentralized version of Reddit. And right now, Lemmy.world appears to be the most popular one. So if you wanted to query that site specifically from Google, just type site:/Lemmy.world, followed by your search query. But like I mentioned during the Lemmy video I made, there's going to be a lot of niche Lemmy instances that have communities that are dedicated to subtopics, like the programming.dev instance with communities that are dedicated to specific programming languages. So directing your search towards this instance, programming.dev, for programming questions might be better than searching a general Lemmy instance. So I hope that that little tip helps you all with finding the information that you're looking for moving forward. And if you haven't already checked out some Lemmy instances, go ahead and do that. Post some content there to help grow the Fediverse community, which has a chance to be a lot more based than Reddit ever was.